Hey, 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 everybody. Hope we're all doing good today. It's just me here doing some good old stuff here. Just hanging out vibing today, listening to some music, having some coffee here. Yeah. Anyways, guys, thank you so much. Did some I guess what you might call it, uploads earlier of some clips. Thought I'd figure out try to get some clips out there. Hope you have your coffee today, guys, and yeah. Hope you guys are all doing a fantastic spring break started yesterday for most of us. Those of us with kids, at least. Yeah, man. Good old coffee in the morning. We were playing some Black Myth yesterday. We might get into a little bit more of that again today. We were also doing some Legos here. Unfortunately, I have a couple of orders that are delayed, which has really put a hamper on my spring break plans. I was hoping to get together with you fine folk and put together the 2-in-1 Deku Tree. However, due to some Aurora, Colorado delay issues, might not be here on time, unfortunately. I have thought about going to purchase one and just returning this one, but I'd hate to say this, but I got the one that is arriving on a pretty sweet deal, and I would hate to give up a $50 rebate on it. So, yeah, man. Anyways, I'm just here again, and not really doing too much. It's a beautiful weekend, and today we're just vibing out, hanging out, not doing anything too crazy, I would say, just kind of letting the day go. Sit back and relax and just kind of put your favorite music on and let's just hang out while you do your thing. I'll do mine and we'll be here together. So those of you who might not notice, I did end up getting a new poster right above me over here. For those of you who are watching, it's the Legend of Zelda there. I like it a lot. I think it's me. But yeah, guys. Like I told you, maybe next week we will do kind of a what's on the shelf moment. Because I like to see what's on the shelf sometimes. I tend to circulate my collection around just because I like to look at different things. Some things have a permanent spot on my shelves, of course, but other things you'll see in the background just kind of coming and going, ebbing and flowing. Especially as we come into more of our Legos coming up here. We have the mini Pokemon Center on its way, which is pretty exciting. We have a bonsai tree and a couple other Lego pieces on their way that we were hoping would be here in time for our excitement, but nope. For those of you who are wondering what's playing in my ears right now, I am listening to Clint Eastwood by the Gorillas. Something about the Gorillas, Clint Eastwood is an all-time classic, and I'm happy. I'm feeling glad I got sunshine. In a bag, I'm useless, but not for long. The future is coming on, it's coming on, it's coming on. You know that song. Classic. So what's everyone doing today? Everyone watching the news, getting ready for Saturday morning drives out of town, in town? Where are we going? What are we doing? Anyways, guys. We might get into some Crimson Desert in a little while, but for right now, I'm just here s- vibing, jiving. Shout out to my friends and family who are supporting me in my little channel here. This started off as one or two pieces of Mario memorabilia, and as some of you can see, that it's kind of taken over my workspace. But I don't mind. It gives me a little bit of joy, you know. Something about Mario and just the whole Nintendo realm is somewhat peaceful for me. I got sunshine in a bag. I'm useless, but not for long. And anyways, guys, I have been studying for the LSAT here. I'm hopefully going to try to take the LSAT test in about 3 to 4 months, but I may be a little bit more distracted and kind of focused in on other things, I guess. Hmm. So, anyways, yeah, man. No. Hmm. LSAT's coming up, all that good stuff. Kids, spring break, school, work, life, kids. Working on doing more of the background digital editing here. So just kind of taking it easy, not really too much to talk about. A lot of things going on here, though. Have any of you guys played Crimson Desert so far? And if so, what do you guys think? Hmm. You know what? When I don't know what to do sometimes, I like to reach out to my Magic 8 Ball, and the Magic 8 Ball oftentimes gives me a little bit of clarity. So let me reach up over here to my shelf and grab Magic 8 Ball. Here we go. For those of you who might not know what a Magic 8 Ball is, we'll get pats on now. For those of you who might not know what a Magic 8 Ball is, it is a toy that if you ask it a question, it will give you a predetermined answer based off of the dice inside. Dice, I guess, only one. And anyways, guys, let's ask it a question like, "Oh, Magic 8 Ball, should I go and play some Crimson Desert, or should I just hang out for a little while longer and chat with you fine folk?" And the answer that it's given me says, "Don't count on it." Okay, guys. So we will not play some Crimson Desert just yet. Maybe give it another more 3 to 4 minutes, and then we'll ask the Magic 8 Ball again. But in the meantime, let's just hang out, vibe out, and hope you got your coffee. Hope you got your warm tea or whatever you need to settle in, and just here vibing. We talk about games, life, sports, all right. And we just talk about love and the pursuit of happiness. Because without love, baby, we wouldn't have nothing. Let life. All right. What would you guys pick? If you had a favorite video game or favorite kind of thing to do. I'm gonna go ahead and take off these headphones right here just because I want to be able to hear what's going on around me beyond the Queen and in my ear. By Queen, I do mean Freddie Mercury. Queen. I love me some Freddie Mercury. Yes, sir. The band Queen, has a lot of great hits, I would say. And if just let's just go down the rabbit hole of some classic music. And no, I am by no means a music aficionado, but I tend to enjoy music and like most people would. My favorite genres here, maybe a little bit of country. You gotta have a little bit of Twain in the old country step now. So I like me some country, very much so. But I would say my other favorite genre is probably gonna be maybe some classic alternative rock, heavy metal. Yeah, I don't know about heavy metal. I mean, Metallica is as heavy as I'll probably get. I mean, there's probably some other ones that I like, but honestly though, my favorite band of all times, and it is set to a channel in my car on a preset, is the Beatles channel. I love the Beatles. And for those of you who don't know who the Beatles are or what they are, like if you've been living under a rock, They are, legends, I believe, or I believe that they are, icons and engineers of modern music. So let me just give you guys a little bit of history for those of you who are still kind of unsure of who the Beatles are. They were formed in a little place called Liverpool, England, back in the 1960s. And originally, they came together with four members: John Lennon, Paul McCartney, George Harrison, and Ringo Starr. Now, as you can imagine, those names are amazing. And one of the first TV appearances that they ever actually got into was on the Ed Sullivan Show. And that pretty much blew up and became what we know as modern pop and rock. Um, and that's kind of what I got into. One of my first experiences with the Beatles, um, I can't really say what song it was. And actually, to be 100% with you, I would have to say, I really did not listen to some of their original work until way later. The first album that I listened to was something called the Love album. And I don't know if any of you guys have ever heard of the Love album, but it is one of my favorites. It has a little bit of everything, uh, everything on it. It has kind of like a Cric du Soleil album, if you will. It was released in 2006. It was produced, of course, by George Martin and his son Giles Martin. So, George and Giles Martin. And they built a blending original Beatles recordings into new layered versions. It's like a remix of Beatles songs, but they made it in a way that if you play it from the beginning of the Love album all the way to the end, it takes you on a continuous experience and a journey throughout the whole. Like each song blends into the next, and sometimes you don't know when one song ends and another begins. And that's one thing that I have completely been memorized by the Love album, and just all the little intricacies that they have. I mean, they have just so many just pieces of other songs that it's almost like a historical album to me. They're combined together. Their different tracks are layered on top of one another, and it to me it feels almost like a movie soundtrack. And I really wish I could share some of that here, but unfortunately, due to copyright issues, we are not able to play any of it. But again, if you have the time to go out, Google, YouTube something, YouTube the Love album. And actually, now that I'm talking about it, I think I'm going to pop in the Love album into my ears right now while I'm talking to y'all because again, I mean, there's something about the Love album, while we go through it. Uh, Something about just all you need is love and just all of them. So I'm going here and I'm just gonna put it on real low so I can really get the feel for it. Let me see if I can find it here. Here we go. We found it. First song on the track is gonna be Because. We get into next Get Back, Glass Onion, Eleanor Rigby slash Julia. And that is, I mean, those two songs together, amazing. I Want to Hold Your Hand, Drive My Car, The World, all this one. Nick Nuss, which is a backwards version of Sun King, which, again, it just shows the intricacies and the magic of the Beatles. Being for the benefit of Mr. Kite. That one right there always puts me in the proper headspace. Help, Blackbird, Yesterday is another great blend of those two songs put together. Strawberry Fields, Within You, Without You, Tomorrow Never Knows. Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds is track 15. Then we get into some more magical stuff of like the Octopus's Garden. Next is Lady Madonna. Here Comes the Sun. I mean, these are just the all-time classics all put together almost in one album, ending with The Fool on the Hill and Girl. So I'm gonna go ahead and just start here, and I'm having the Beatles in my head today. I hope you guys sit back, relax, and listen to some Beatles with me here later on. And that is not on my headset as I thought it was. So let me do that. And let's get into because. Mm, oh yeah. Me on. Something about the Beatles just puts you in a trance of state. Makes you just want to float on a boat in a river down a stream of marmalade skies. Makes you really just want to go to a strawberry field and just forget all your problems for a moment. Love is old, love is new. Because the wind is high, it blows my mind. I could stay here all day long listening to Love, baby. Love, Love album. So again, guys, released in 2006. Hmm. Yeah, man. I love right now because I'm gonna go ahead and just sink into the music here for a second. Because it just has such a strong harmony. The vocals here are just absolutely amazing, and the way that they just capture the essence, just amazing. And now we are slowly transitioning into the next song in the discography here, and it is gonna be "Get Back." This song is actually one of my favorite. I mean, all these songs are my favorites, and I think that's why I have such a huge hit. I mean, it's such a huge affinity to this one. Jojo was a man who thought he was a loner. But now we're getting to a more upbeat type melody of Get Back. Uh, and it just feels like it's another great historical song. I mean, I'm going to keep saying historical songs all throughout this album, I'm sure. But, Get Back, the situation in 1969 tension era is what kind of contributed to this song. It was written mostly by Paul McCartney, and it started in a jam session idea. They also had performed this song on the roof of Apple Corps in London, which marked a very historical performance. People literally stopped in the streets when they performed this on the rooftops. It also became one of their final public performances, which marked the end of an era. This is not just a song. This is one of the very last songs that they ever really played live together. Was "Get Back." On the keyboard, one thing that many people might not realize is that they did have a secret weapon, and that secret weapon's name is Billy Preston. Billy Preston joined on keyboards. His presence helped reduce tension in the band and kind of kept everything harmonious. And he brought a smoother groove back to the music. So if you guys are listening to that keyboard in a minute, or it's like "Get Back, Joe," and then you just hear that big old keyboard riff, that is all Billy Preston right there. And then you got Paul back on it. Ah, get back to where you once belonged. That is the classic. The song actually, the lyrics started as a joke, more about politics than identity, and it evolved into a general message like get back to where you were once in your life, to the version of you who you want to be. And with that, we are now transitioned into Glass Onion. And just like that, as I was talking, no pauses, right into song number 3, Glass Onion. Nothing is real, as they say in a glass onion. Fixing a hole in the ocean. And it feels like a ducktail joint, yeah. Looking through a glass onion. And again, these are slightly different than the original Glass Onion songs, Get Back, because these are all just kind of making a longer track all in one. The total to this track is actually an hour and a half, hour and 26 minutes long. And I gotta say, it is an hour 26 minutes of pure auditory delight. Audiophiles, I feel, are very keen into this, I hope. I mean, I'm sure everyone has their own favorite love album of like the White Belt album, the Who. I mean, different albums. You know, Abbey Road. But I don't know. This one, I guess, for me, came into my life at a time when I truly needed a little bit of love, and it just stuck with me. And now we are getting into Eleanor Rigby, which has evolved meaning for me over time. You know, I once felt like I was one of Eleanor Rigby's children, and now I myself may be Eleanor Rigby. It's in a church and a wedding has been. Lives in a dream, looking the window, wearing the face that he keeps in a jar by the door. Who is it for? All the lonely people. Where do they all come from? You know how that one is. Where do they all belong? Little bit of mocha, little bit of almond milk keeps me satisfied. And talks in the night when there's nobody there. What does he care? All the lonely people. I get a lot of isolation from this song. It's not a typical Beatles song with guitars and drums. You get a lot of kind of string instruments, maybe like an octet, classical instruments. It doesn't really feel like a band. It feels more like a orchestral, measure in this song, Eleanor Rigby. You get the sharp and intense strings mixed with like a almost anxious feeling as the strings go tighter and tighter. Very cinematic song. We got Father Mackenzie, a priest that nobody listens to as he completes a sermon. Where do all the lonely people come from? All the lonely people. Where do they all belong? And that's the question, isn't it? And that's the $1 million question. And with that, we are slipping into Julia, the intro to Julia, I should say. But it's going to be followed up now by I Am the Walrus. And for those of you who, again, maybe have not even heard of I Am the Walrus, man, oh man, you need to get out there. You need to get out there and listen to I Am the Walrus. I am myself today, the walrus. And I think maybe that's today's theme. Get out there and be the walrus. Because this song is all about just having that high emotion, high energy, just being happy with who you are. And if you want to be a walrus today, then be a walrus. Yes. No, just playing, guys. Be a walrus, though. Be a walrus. I am he as you are, he as you are, me and we are all together. See how they run like pigs from a gun, see how they fly. You know, this song is almost just like Glass Onion, but I think it takes it up an extra volume notch or two. If you listen to Glass Onion, bump it up by 5. Then you have I Am the Walrus. Super Bloody Tuesday, man, you been a naughty boy. You let your face grow long. I am the Eggman. They are the Eggmen. I am the Walrus. That one always gets me in a positive affirmational mood. And actually, this song was written by John Lennon, so Paul McCartney did contribute, but the lyrics are really more like random phrases that you must try to decode. Some of them are nonsensical imagery, but they are surreal. It feels like when he says goo goo gajoo, he's talking to me, talking straight to my soul. Goo goo gajoo. Yellow man custard, dripping from a dead dog's eye. You know, this is by far one of my songs. I just feel like there's sometimes just going in for one of those. Because I am the walrus. Goo goo gachoo. Goo goo gachoo goo 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 gachoo. And it really does represent the Beatles at one of their most experimental moments. This is truly an early song from their discography, and it shows you the emotion what they are trying to capture, just the fluidity, the rawness of passion that is captured in "I Am the Walrus." 'Cause I am the walrus. Get you. I'll say it all day. Expert, choking smokers. Don't you think the Joker laughs at you? Yee, ha ha ha. See how they rile like pigs in a sty. See how they snide. I'm crying. Mm-hmm. And it looks like my neighbors are heading out. Hope they all have a great day out there in this neck of the woods. People are waking up. It is 7:16 a.m. here, and I am getting an incoming call. I will be right back here, folks. Don't go anywhere. Well, oh, well, guys. Oop. Well, guys. It looks like I have to get going here. Unfortunately, we are going to have to put a pause on our discography today. We're going to listen to one last song of I Am the Walrus here. We got about a minute left, and then we will be back here in another 30 to 40 minutes. I am the walrus. Cuckoo, cachoo, cuckoo, cachoo. Cuckoo, cachoo, cuckoo, cachoo, cuckoo. Chupa, 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 chupa. That was the song right here. And believe it or not, this album actually entered the Billboard Top 200 chart at number 4 in the year in December 2006. So that is also tells you something there. So 2006, almost 20 years ago, top 4 this album. Made me feel a little old now. Made me feel a little old. And I probably discovered this album back in 2009. So that just kind of dates myself 3 years after it was released, I would say. Yeah. About 09, 08 that I found this album for myself. Always behind the times. But okay, guys, I am gonna take another pause. I wish I could stay here a little bit longer this morning, but we got some stuff to do, and I will be back here sometime. I see some like grubbiness right there. What the hell is that thing? Na 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 na. All right.